Hello Capricorn, and welcome to your in-depth monthly horoscope for October. This is for the Sun or the Ascendant. I'm going to give you the broad themes to look out for to begin with, but please stay with me. I will then be going through each of the days and influences that are particularly relevant to your sign in great detail. Now, a couple of things to share with you. Pluto in your sign ends a retrograde on the 8th and goes forwards. But also Saturn, your ruler, repeats this on the 23rd. So I think those are two very important good news stories. But Venus, the planet that governs two zodiac signs, Taurus, very much to do with an earthy appreciation of sensual pleasures, good food, good wine, but also influences self-worth and everyday money. That, in its rulership of Libra, very much to do with graciousness, presentation and relationships. Well, that planet's going to be aligning with the Sun through the whole spine of this month, but through two zodiac signs. And the first phase really gives you enormous opportunities professionally. The second phase, including a solar eclipse on the 25th, gives you a platform to see your social network really enlarge and become much more vibrant in the following 6 months. So some really exciting themes to share with you. So please stay with me for those. However, if you would like to ascend above this zodiac broadcast and embrace more serious astrology, if you give me 3 pieces of personal birth data of time, date and place of birth, I can provide you with a roadmap that can guide you for the rest of your life. And in my special package, you can also get your year 2023 personal forecast, the rest of 22 free and 30% off. No two charts are the same. They're absolutely totally unique to you and can give you searing insights to guide you in your future moves. And to order your personal horoscope, please see the link beneath this video. But if you are new to my channel, I'd be honoured if you would subscribe to my channel. Please click or tap on the bell notification symbol. If you've already done so, thank you so much for your ongoing support. So Capricorn, as you come into this new month, so the Sun and also Venus are in your 10th house. This is technically known as the midheaven. This is where we connect to the wider world. Your people skills are going to be really crucially important this month. The more you embrace the potential to cultivate contacts and build up goodwill, the better you can do. Of course, whatever work we do, there is the actual thing we provide, the service we provide, or the role we fulfill, or the item we make. But it's the relationships around all that that actually are so important. And that's really what is speaking to your situation in the first 2/3 of this month. But of course, Mercury, the planet of communication, has been retrograde. And on the 2nd of this month, it does go forwards in your sister Earth sign of Virgo. And through to the 10th, if you are trying to clear up an important contractual paperwork or travel issue or something to do with higher education, after some weeks of potential frustration, I think you can have a breakthrough. I also think that some Capricornians may even consider some kind of professional training or learning new skills as Mercury returns to Libra on the 10th. If this rings a bell or you've been contemplating this for some while, it's because from the 26th of August through to the 23rd of September, Mercury was making its way through this sector, but due to its retrograde, it's repeating this a second time. But second time around, I think you've got a lot more information to guide your moves. But also, as I mentioned before, Pluto does end a retrograde on the 8th. But Pluto's been really creating huge potential for transformation in your world since 2008. But if your Sun or birthday is towards the end of Capricorn, I think you're going to be feeling this influence much more acutely now. So if you have felt that there's some alterations that have been, really quite huge going on in your situation, the Pluto retrograde has probably added to that. But right at the start of this month, despite the fact that Mercury goes direct, it is in an opposition with Neptune, and both are in a T-square with Mars. Mars is the planet of passion, and for you, it's in the part of your horoscope to do with hard work, vitality, and dedication. And it's probably given you quite a boost. Since the end of August, you probably felt quite motivated and hopefully have had a bit more spark. But unfortunately, this month, Mars is in a square with Neptune, and in fact this is going to be ongoing into November and be repeated in March next year. Now Neptune's in your sector of everyday communication, but also ideas, belief systems. Neptune can be a very shimmering but also a very distorting influence, to be honest. It's wonderful if you're wanting to embrace your imagination and write music or poetry or paint or take part in photography or film. All those things Neptune has been glorious for. But when it comes to your contact with neighbours or siblings, or just how you're thinking about more factual matters, Neptune can create a change. And the third house energy of Neptune squaring up with Mars in your sector of physicality and precision can see you feel a little weary. And because Mercury is opposite Neptune and squaring up with Mars along with Neptune in the first week of this month, despite the fact that Mercury goes direct, there may still be some confusion. And that confusion might be about work or about the kind of things that give you a sense of satisfaction. So if your life feels a bit bogged down and not very ordered at the start of this month, it wouldn't be a surprise. But because of the closeness of Venus to the Sun, if you can use your people skills or your contacts to think about the big picture in terms of your goals and ambitions, even if some of the details are irritatingly slow or not quite working as you want, there is still the opportunity to get some oversight of how you can take things forwards. And I think this all comes up to the boil on the 9th when we have the full moon in the sign of Aries. For you, this is very much about how you feel about things, whereas the Sun and Venus is in the sector of success, goals and ambitions. But perhaps over the following 2 weeks, it could see you rethink your professional hopes based on how you feel, rather more than just on the issues of status or money or the overall security of your particular situation at the moment. You want to feel that personal satisfaction. Now it could be completely the reverse of that. It could be that you have a lot of satisfaction in what you do, but you don't feel you get much recognition, you're not very well paid, or it's not really something that can help you to meet your physical costs. So those kind of decisions can see you think carefully about your role in life. But seeking the advice of someone very wise and influential, someone who's quite experienced, can actually be a very noble thing to do on your part. Now, whether this is through a professional advisor, such as a business consultant or a counsellor or a banker or someone who understands, say, mortgages and raising finance, or whether it's something that's done more informally, is really down to you. But in week 2, as the Sun continues along with Venus to forge a very stable link to your ruler Saturn in your sector of everyday finance, I think you can start to cut through and get greater clarity after that fogginess which may have been quite prevalent at the start of the month. And of course, once Mercury moves on the 10th, that will help that process enormously. But the square between Mars and Neptune does become exact on the 12th. And also, just in terms of Mars, Mars is very much about our ego needs, but in the 6th house and in the quick-witted sign of Gemini for you, it's very much about your communication, but also it is about details in the 6th house. And maybe if you are being quite idealistic about the type of work you can do, you do need to be a bit more grounded. So Mars can encourage you to think about the small picture as well as seeing what you want in terms of your bigger aims and ambitions. But by the 19th, Pluto, now going forwards in your sign, does challenge both the Sun and Venus. So as much as you may desire of something better for yourself, an improvement in your overall professional or worldly situation, Pluto's just cautioning you not to try too hard. Or if you do, other people may be resistant to your charms, but your charm will definitely reach a peak on the 22nd when the Sun and Venus are exactly conjunct. And that could coincide with an offer, a proposal, or some kind of breakthrough in terms of an application for a job, or if you work for yourself, a new client, or you can do a presentation that's really well received. But on the 23rd, probably one of the key moments of this month, Saturn ends its retrograde, which began on June the 4th. If you've really felt that your financial situation was contracting since then, or your own sense of self-worth has felt under pressure since then, it wouldn't be a surprise. And of course, Saturn and Uranus are back in conflict. And in fact, they're as close as 1 minute away from being exactly square from the 2nd to the 12th of this month. And that's just saying to you not to be too free and easy with your resources. But that's quite counterintuitive to a Capricorn anyway, because for sure you may enjoy some treats and big ticket items like anyone else, but you're usually very thorough in checking out all the different alternatives or reviews or how you could get greater value. But if you have been feeling at times that you do want to throw caution to the wind, this is not the best of time to do so. So even if you enjoy a little bit of a flutter, or you're a more serious speculator, I think the square between Saturn and Uranus is saying pause for now, stick rather than twist. However, also on the 23rd, the Sun and Venus glide into your sector of friendship, of the network, of your future hopes, and also can connect you to more spiritual values, quite frankly. So we can have the physical domain, which is, obviously money, the size of the property we live in, the respect we can garner from people because of our apparent material success. But the 11th house is much more to do with how our ideals or our belief systems are sated. So we can be very successful, but if we're working for an organisation that we don't really believe in, or it does things that don't in some ways meet our credentials in terms of ecology or the environment, or how they look after the staff and terms and conditions, then those are things that are more conditioned by the 11th house thinking. So it's a kind of Aquarius vibe, to be honest. But if you are a very sociable Capricorn, the next 6 months, particularly from the solar eclipse of the 25th, are really going to be filled with some real moments of wonderment. And you could have some new people entering your cosmic circle, and some of these people can be really lovely and really give you quite a lot of uplift. But also it's possible that you're going to evolve in some of your longer term hopes. Now Jupiter, however, does reverse in its retrograde, and it's been in your sector of home and emotion for all of this month, but it reverses into that sector of everyday communication because of Neptune's impact on Mars. I think this is good, really. Jupiter rules the sign of Pisces, and it brings an enthusiasm about the exchange of ideas rather than the confusion that Neptune may be generating. But also Mercury does clash with Pluto from the 25th to the 29th, once more trying to balance your desire for an improvement in status against how you're going to go about it and how people perceive it could be an issue. But on the 29th, Mercury does make its way into Scorpio too. Mercury dives deep in Scorpio. You're going to be meeting some new people, and some of those new players can become profoundly important. But I think Mercury's saying to you, you want them to also be meaningful people, not just frivolously fun. You want to connect to people who share your values, and that's going to be really important to you over the next half year. But on the 30th, the position of Mars changes with a retrograde. Mars is exalted in your sign, so you have a good appreciation of Mars, but it goes retrograde in that 6th house through to January the 12th. So the physical energy which you need to marshal carefully, along with these demands professionally in the first 2/3 of the month, and your social quest in the last 10 days, Mars going retrograde just suggests you only have a certain amount of time and energy to apply in each given day, and you need to apply it with care.